Good morning. Good day. It's November 14th, 2019. I had a thoughtful night, as I did 2 nights ago. The night of the 12th. It was a good night too. The 13th was full moon. I took some melatonin, so I had a much better rest that night. Incidentally, melatonin helps because with spraying, with geoengineering going on, and all the 4G technology and the phones and the cell phones and all this, we're in a ocean of vibrational frequency pollution. So your body's not producing the melatonin that it normally would. God knows what's going to happen when 5G, if 5G ever comes to be. We're going to be really totally controlled by the powers that be that know how to work these frequencies to their favor and use or keep the masses from becoming more aware of the universe. So anyway, this is rather a deep subject. I'm going to tape it now, or record it, while it's a little more fresh in my mind. I may not release it, but it's about ascending, about the individual, their pattern, their spirit, their ascending, reaching enlightenment. The yogis do this, and some other individuals, but there's more of it taught and understood in the yoga teachings. Teachings might not be the best word, but you understand what I'm talking about. However, it's important to understand that this can be done on a mass grouping or mass togetherness, and this is probably what is understood and perverted today as under Christian ideas as being saved and being what do they call it? All going to heaven or wherever in one group. I can't think of the term. Reborn? No, not reborn. That's before you go up. For some reason, the words skip me. But this can be done in smaller amounts of people or great amounts. When it's smaller, the word today is used as a kind of a cult label. That's not really the right word for it, but that's what more people understanding. This cult's going to do something, such as the cult that committed suicide in San Diego in 1997, Heaven's Gate. But you can have that attempted, say, with a Christian being saved. mentality. Now, there is some proof that this has occurred in the past. The Vril group of Germany, 20s and 30s, late 30s, they disappeared the very late 30s. Going further back in this country would be the Anastasi of Chaco Canyon, that's in northwestern New Mexico, and some of the Indian native groups that populated the area northeast of Flagstaff. Also, there's a little less evidence that that was done there too, because these were power areas at the time. This power area has kind of moved off to the west presently and is understood more to be around Sedona, Arizona. So that's why there's so many people today going there to be enlightened and learn about the higher possibilities that our bodies can do. On a larger scale, this is what the Mormon religion is attempting. And you could even say that's what the whites from Europe came over to North America en masse to get away from the old chains of Europe, destiny, the American destiny. That's kind of a little bit the same thing. It's, in a sense, what civilization is attempting to do to find out where we came from. You know, what are we? What is our purpose? That's it in a larger scale. But what this video is about today is more about doing it on group level rather than the yogi who does it as a self, individual, internal. Whereas at a group, it's a little bit easier, especially if you have a larger number and you have leaders who are truly dedicated to that, understanding it and teaching it to the flock. In a negative sense, this is what a corporation is. Yeah. And the big corporation, the One World Corporation, that's well underway, is the corporation of the City of London. Now this ties in with my other videos and the work that some of you all are doing out there. Now, what is a corporation? It's headed by not individuals, not even necessarily people. It's a collective of those at the top of the pyramid. And this is kind of weird to explain, but in a sense, if you go in a negative direction, that can be either kind of like Satan entity or Lucifer entity, which are two different things, but for this purpose, I'm going to just say it can be done either way with that. And if you want to look at it with the positive, you would put Jesus Christ or Yahshua HaMashiach at the top of that as a to guide the people, the flock, back to heaven or into enlightenment. But in a sense, that's what a corporation can be, just as a religious body or a religious group could be. Let's, for now, just say, as an example, a group gets together under one or two leaders. And I'm going to use Heaven's Gate again for an example, which incidentally was kind of an MK Ultra funded and guided bunch. The two, this was before there were Heaven's Gate, but they used to be called the Two, and it was the guy who eventually taught the Heaven's Gate followers to all become its by getting rid of their gonads, their testicles. And back when they were the Two, there was the woman who I ran across the group once, and she didn't introduce herself as that, but I got the feeling, and later I realized pretty much for sure that she was the female counterpart of that group at that time. She later got cancer or something and passed away, but before that she broke away from the group. But she, in my mind, was the handler. The guy may have not even realized he was being programmed and run as an MK Ultra project, or it may not have been exactly MK Ultra, but it was one of those. There's different compartments of that. But anyway, say you get a group together and they're trying to reach enlightenment or learn more about the universe. And their numbers can give them strength and power because they're working on the same project, just like a corporation would be doing. So any bunch of people could get together and form a group, whether it was a club or a society or a Skull and Bones, a secret society, or a Bohemian Grove, those negative people that have gotten together and sort of worship the owl and all that, occult stuff. But it doesn't have to be a cult. It's just a group that can be attempting a positive approach to this. I'm kind of losing where I'm going with this and what I gained last night. By working together, you have a unifying ability and strength, and it adds up. And basically you can go anywhere you want to with this as far as what your project or projection is, where you want to take this group. It can be for medical health benefits of those people in the organization, or to teach, I don't want to say practice medicine, but teach the masses in general how to live better. I mean, even an organic group or society can do this by teaching organics, or being anti-GMO, or things like that. Hopefully you're getting the idea about on that. So you've got these bylines of what the group it understands to where they're going with this. That's it in a nutshell. Let's see, it's 15 minutes right there. I've kind of lost where I'm really going with this. But the individual groups can get off track. Say, I consider the Mormon religion has gotten off track in the 200 odd years that it's been in existence. The higher ups in the Mormon religion are not seeing, they're not working, in my mind, in other people's minds, and especially the people that have left, the Mormons that have left and consider themselves to be the true Mormons. Terms kind of a Jack Mormon, or this is kind of like what the breakaways are in Mexico, that a bunch of them were assassinated, the women and children recently. I don't think that was really drug related, although the drug cartels are tied in to this bigger thing what's going on. But what I was bringing that up is these groups can be a threat to the big corporation in the City of London, or any of its underling corporations, CIA and the NSA, which are corporations. They're not really part of the government. Under the Constitution. Incidentally, we the people can be a corporation without them knowing it, but acting as a corporation, and under the Constitution it's a positive attempt for America, or the United States of America, or the United States of America, spelled in small letters, where they're wanting to go, break away from the empire under Great Britain and the Vatican, which the Vatican more or less super controls the City of London. I've gotten into that in other videos, and many of you all understand that too. Anyway, the City of London, or their underling groups, can work against, say, the Mormons, or a group that's attempting to elevate themselves, because they see them as a threat. The Patriot movement, the true Patriot movement, in the United States has been seen as a threat. The militia members, people that follow the Bundy group that were in southern Nevada, that had a run-in with running their cattle on public land that they had decades ago made a contract with the U.S. constitutional government, the land part of the people, to run their cattle on public lands. That's another subject anyway, but the powers that be, the corporation, the empire, the negative empire, in a sense went to war with these, who were many offshoot breakaway Mormons too. But there was a war. It's kind of a standoff now. at the moment. But it may be going on in Mexico right now with these Mormons. Yeah, it can get bloody. I can't think of the sect in Mexico that some people are saying that these Mormons that recently got shot, ambushed and killed the women and children, that group somewhere is tied in with this occult group in Mexico that every so often you hear about, where a whole bunch of dead bodies are found in a pit. This has been going on for decades. I know there was a whole bunch of them down south of South Texas in Mexico that were found, was it in the 90s? But I'm getting off the subject. There's battles going on, wars going on all the time, where the Empire feels that this group has gotten to be enough, that they're a threat to the Empire. So, they hassle the Empire, or whoever hassles these groups, so that they end up putting their energy into fighting the Empire instead of getting somewhere. But if you can do this under, say, a golf club or an anti-vaccination group, and you get enough numbers in there, you can kind of get further, because in a sense, all people that are trying to get back to nature's ways, to God's ways, to the universal laws, to the spirit, the higher dimensions, are all working in that direction, while the Satanists and the Luciferians and the City of London are all trying to do it their way, which I call kind of a negative, going the negative path. This is the tree of good and evil, where the positive people or groups that are trying to ascend or relearn their history, where they came from, are doing it in a positive way. Boy, yeah, that's a lot to try to digest, and maybe I should just leave it at that and let you try to work with this and watch it over again. This video, I've kind of gone place a little bit further than where I've gone in any of the other videos that I've done on this channel. Maybe I'll make a part 2 of it later, but this is an introduction of kind of what I was working on during the night. So, thank you, and have a good week in this special week of things happening that you probably won't hear about for a long time, that those who are more aware and awake kind of feel that are going on right now. Bye.